is fruititarianism good for you?
Okay, what is fruititarianism?
So, great
thank
question,
you.
babe. My goodness. Fruititarianism is a diet made up primarily or entirely of fruit.
Okay.
So that includes apples, bananas, berries, mangoes. Some diets include tomatoes, cucumbers, and avocados, like botanical fruits. But stricter versions even avoid even nuts, seeds, and obviously anything cooked.
Okay, so literally just fruit.
Just fruit.
Okay.
And some go strictly just fruit, I should say, and others go like 50 to 80% of their calories just from fruit.
Okay.
Yeah. So this could be like a large quantity of fruit, so like 20 bananas a day.
Oh, wow.
15 to 20
but
bananas.
But they still might eat a burger occasionally.
Occasionally. It depends.
I would guess probably somebody like that would be more like vegan. Like they might have some nuts or something.
Yeah, and I'm talking specifically about like hardcore fruititarianism, and so that is we're just gonna say whoever we're discussing here is 100% in.
Yeah.
But most people are 80% or 50% in. So it really is kind of like a subset of veganism, but way more restrictive, obviously.
Right.
So people are drawn to it because of the health claims it has to detox your body.
Okay.
It also has the evident draw of being really simplistic. You know, if you only have fruit to eat, you only have to buy fruit. And also some people get really into fruititarianism because of spiritual beliefs or reasoning.
Okay.
Which arguably could be a little bit of why people started doing just fruit back in historical times just for spiritual reasons.
I could see some spiritual connection to that. Yeah.
Yeah.
And the idea that, whoa, that was weird.
What?
My voice made a weird noise.
Nice. Cool.
Woo, spooky. Where if you think of like a fruit, it's like the apple tree produces the fruit.
Yes.
Whereas like maybe with a vegetable, like you're cutting off its leaves, its life source.
Yeah.
So the fruit, a fruit tree is giving you the fruit.
Yeah.
So you're not taking anything away from it. I don't know. I just think maybe that's the spiritual reason.
A lot of people think that you're not killing the fruit because you're just taking it right off the tree, or it's falling and then you're eating it. You know, it's kind of like the natural process. There's actually a different, I think it's ethical veganism.
Yep.
That's very much so that way. But yeah, this takes it to a different level. Like you're saying, that could be part of the spiritual component, which is not killing anything.
Yes.
Yeah.
Huh. Interesting.
So do you think simplifying your diet this much would make your life better or harder?
So I think that having or eating just, one type of food could help in the idea of simplicity. But I can't imagine that eating just fruit would be that simplistic or like beneficial in the sense that, I don't know, fruit's a lot. You can spoil rather quickly. I feel like that'd be just a lot of sugar to try and intake at any point of time. I feel like we're meant to have like some salty or umami flavors in our life. And so I think that after a while that could get a little bit like you develop some food aversions to certain fruits. But the simplicity, I'm all for like just narrowing down your diet to like, here are the main 20 ingredients we eat. I feel like that's kind of what we do by and large.
Yeah.
But I don't know. What do you think?
I don't know. It's very interesting. I'm all about simplicity. I'm all about paring down complicated things in your life and focusing in on the more important things, which this would increase that ability for you to be able to focus on important things. And
definitely.
But at the same time, I feel like you're leading to health complications down the road by just trying to save some time. And that's not what most fruititarians are doing. This isn't a time-saving device. But I think if we're talking about making our lives better or just harder, I think it would be better in the short term and harder in the long term.
Yeah.
Yeah, because of the effects it's going to have on your body eventually.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah. Tell me more about like the effects it does have on people.
Sure. Yeah. We're going to get into that a little bit later. I'm going to tell you a little bit of the history and then we'll dive right into the health effects. So this idea of fruititarianism isn't totally new. So There's actually this is really interesting. There's actually no single person we can point to as the first fruititarian.
Wow.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Because the mix comes from such a weird hodgepodge of like religion, philosophy, and early health movements. You know, like some people say the Garden of Eden, where they were the first fruititarians. There's some ancient philosophers who were pushing plant-based diets back in the day, so they could have been it. And then there's people today who are actual hardcore fruititarians who could claim that they are the first.
Yeah.
Because it's kind of still...
Or at least they popularized it maybe.
Yeah, they could have popularized it.
Huh.
But I'm talking specifically in relation to fruititarianism as a lifestyle.
Okay.
Not just a diet, like a short-term diet.
Yeah.
There's people now that are living just off of fruit.
Wow.
And so they could be the first people in history that we know of.
Long term.
Yeah, to do it for like the rest of their lives.
Wow.
So yeah, today fruititarianism has found a new life online. Like I was talking about, like some of those influencers are promoting this because of their claims of how it detoxes their bodies and the stories of like increased energy and clarity. So here's kind of the reality about it though. It's never gone mainstream because most people who try this diet can't sustain it long term.
Okay.
So before we dive into like the hottest debate around the pros and cons of fruititarianism, why do you think people are so attracted to clean, I'm using quotes right here, clean lifestyles like this, like lifestyle diets like this?
Well, I think that this is just going to be generalization, but many people who are really attracted to extreme clean lifestyles, like being a raw vegan or just doing fruit, things like that, they tend to be more of a spiritualistic type of a person, maybe interested in New Age or just spirituality in general. And so I think that can be a way that they're almost like, it's their own sacrament or their own tradition, their own way of like, the earth is giving to me and I give back to it and I reap its bounty. Oh, Mother Earth, kind of a connection with the earth in like a real way. And also for people who are extremely, not that I'm for animal cruelty. I'm just not bothered if I eat a burger that, an animal died.
Yeah.
And so people that really are impacted by that, I think if you're like, okay, we can't take the life of a happy cow and make a burger out of it. Oh, wow. Now maybe we're taking the life of a plant. We can't do that. So kind of narrowing it down to like fruit. I think just in a reach to like find meaning in life and like show that you're contributing in some way. I don't know. I feel like there's something like there's a void that's trying to be filled.
Yeah, I think you're right.
Yeah. Generally.
And I think it's a twisted, if you're talking about the people who do this for ethical reasons because the plant isn't dying before you eat it, I think we need to re-examine like the moral boundary we think we're crossing when it comes to eating animals and eating fruits and vegetables, because you can be an ethical vegan or an ethical vegetarian, and that's totally fine.
Yeah.
Like that's okay. But when it comes to killing plants, like species that we know don't have a brain or can't feel, no nervous system, that is where I think we get into kind of a toxic empathy for inanimate objects, which is idolization.
Yes.
In a strange, weird way.
Putting more value in a plant than in other things. Yeah.
And that's probably a small subset of fruititarianism. But I think it's one of those things that's just kind of like, that's probably what I think of the most when I think of like the woo-woo behind the reasons we go vegan or people go vegan or fruititarian. But yeah, I think people are attracted to this because it's like it's also kind of like a quick fix diet. It's like we're going to lose a lot of weight and we're going to have a really high energy the whole time.
Yes.
So a lot of time when you're eating less food to lose weight, you got less energy, you're more grumpy. But with this, that kind of fixes those two things. You have more energy, and typically more energy means more happiness in a lot of people's minds.
Yeah. And I could see the fruititarian thing being more attractive than being than other diets, in the sense of like you get a lot of really sweet fruits,
like sugar.
You know, like that makes
sugar.
you feel good.
Totally.
At least for a chunk of time. So yeah.
Well, going back to the animal cruelty thing you said earlier, if you did, like, for some weird reason you had to torture one cow in order for the whole world to eat beef.
Yeah.
Every year you just had to torture one cow. You think that's worth it?
Oh, I mean, that's tricky. The Bible tells you not to be mean to animals.
That's very true.
So
That's very true.
like God's like, don't do that. But yeah, I mean, that's the
great.
whole, like, you know, the trolley, you know, fallacy, where it's like, would you switch the trolley tracks to kill your mom or save 50 people? It's just one of those, like, truly impossible to answer. Although I do fully believe that an animal has less value than a human eternal soul.
Totally. Yeah, but I feel like there's something truly broken about people who treat animals poorly.
Yes.
And this is coming from a guy. When I was a kid, you know, we had a dog, and our example of treating a dog well was, if it didn't do something, you gotta spank the dog. Like, you gotta hit the dog. And that just created a terrible, sad dog.
Right, rather than training it properly.
Yeah, and that's not that anybody's fault. Like, I don't think my parents really knew, were raised to deal with animals well, and I don't think we were either. And so, but there is something like that breaks in your heart when you have to hit an animal. You're just like, it's not going to understand what I did or what it did, but we're just here, and I'm going to spank you.
Right.
Moving on.
Yeah, before I get into childhood trauma about animals.
So, the debate. Let's talk about more about the actual reason that most people are against the fruititarianism diet. So the core question here is fruititarianism a natural, clean way to live, or is it nutritionally dangerous? The arguments for it would be that fruit is packed with vitamins, water, and natural sugars. So just eating fruit helps you cut out processed foods.
Yes.
So people feel better really fast when they become a fruititarian. There is a high carb intake. So that's like we were talking about. It's a quick energy boost. Your hydration levels go up due to that fact, a lot of people feel a lot cleaner.
Right.
Some people report better digestion, mental clarity, and a lot of weight loss. Now, we have to reality check this and just say a lot of these pros come from removing junk and processed food.
It's just like the whole carnivore diet. It's like, I feel like half of the battle is they just stopped eating bad food.
Totally.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we have to look at it. What is it? What's that saying? With a grain of rice?
Salt.
Grain of salt?
Could be rice. That's hilarious.
That's funny. With a grain of rice.
Take this with a grain of rice.
Take this with a grain of rice, and you just hand them like a grain of rice. They're like, I'm not going to hang out with this guy anymore. It's bigger than a grain of
salt, and so it's like, this is more impactful, more important.
Yeah, and also something to snack on, unless you're a fruititarian.
Or if it's cooked or not.
That's right. I'd still eat it.
Because I guess rice is more on the vegetable area. I mean, it's a grain.
Yeah, no, I don't know. I have no idea.
A plant seed.
It is a plant. It is a seed.
Right?
I don't know,
Is that a seed, a rice? A grain of rice? Is that the seed?
It could be. A mustard seed.
That comes from mustard.
Isn't a grain of rice? I don't know why I brought that up.
Is mustard a fruit?
That's a great question.
A spice?
I don't actually know, because you have to grind it up in order to eat it.
Yeah.
And enjoy it.
I wonder if it's kind of like a coffee bean where there's a fruit around it.
Yeah. Interesting.
Wow.
Okay. So the argument against fruititarianism, this is where the health complications actually get kind of serious. There's not absolutely, but there's almost no protein in the fruititarian diet.
Okay.
It's very low. The diet is very low in vitamin B12, which
we need. That's one thing we really need. Yeah.
Yes. And it long-term abstinence from vitamin B12, I guess I could say, can lead to nerve damage, which is crazy. I had no idea. You're also super low in iron, calcium, and omega-3s. Omega-3s are great for inflammation. Calcium's great for bone health.
Yeah.
Iron is great for your hemoglobin, which I just found out.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, that makes sense because I could see there being a small amount of protein in fruit, but there's no fat almost at all,
No.
other than avocados. I guess people could eat a lot of avocados.
Yeah, you could do
But
that.
I don't think those have omega-3s.
Probably not.
I don't know.
Another danger would be from all the blood sugar spikes from the constant fruit intake. This can cause fatigue, hormonal issues, and long-term brain fog. And also, nobody mentions this when you talk fruititarianism, but dental issues from the constant sugar
Yes.
and the acid from eating all this fruit. And another big problem when you have with fruititarianism is that people undereat calories because fruit fills you up so fast.
It's a lot of work, I'm sure, to get in. Yeah, 2,000 calories or whatever.
Oh, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So key takeaways here, fruititarianism is real but extremely restrictive. It's built on health ideas, simplicity, a strange philosophy, and sometimes spiritual beliefs like we talked about. Short-term benefits often come from cutting out processed foods more than the actual diet itself. And long-term risks come from missing those essential nutrients and vitamins that we just talked about. The body doesn't need just clean food, and I'm doing that with quotes. It needs complete nutrition.
Yeah.
So I guess my question to you is, are people chasing health, or are they chasing more of like a quick fix and more control in their life?
I mean, I would guess most people, they think they're chasing health. That's like their core motive in it.
Yeah.
But if they're achieving it, that's to be debated. And I think there could be that whole like sunk cost where it's like, I've done this for so long. Oh, I just need to keep going. I'll start feeling better kind of a thing. After the natural, you feel better because you're not eating a bunch of unhealthy foods.
Oh, totally.
But yeah, I mean, there can be spiritual reasons. There can be, all sorts of it. So it'd be very interesting to know the majority of people's motivations in that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Was there any like specific religion you saw that promotes this or?
No, it just says people have been doing it for spiritual reasons.
Yeah.
And some philosophers did it for philosophical reasons. Everybody has their own kind of religious or philosophical background where they pull from kind of a desire for control or for purity, like we talked about. And so they didn't say there's any specific religion people were pulling from or spiritual practice, but
probably some cult somewhere, but
probably. Yeah.
Interesting. I remember us seeing this guy on Instagram. This was probably a couple of years ago, and he had a lot of health problems. He was probably 30 and ended up, I think, going vegan and then just fruits and vegetables and eventually just fruititarian. And he felt a lot better. I think he did cure a lot of his autoimmune conditions.
That's cool.
But he looked so skinny.
Yes.
And so pale.
Yeah.
I'm so pale.
I'm so pale.
But he lived in Hawaii, which made it very accessible for him to be getting fresh fruit year round. So that can get into another debate if people are, I remember he would say in most of his videos that fruit is the only food that wants to be eaten. Like,
yeah.
It's designed to be eaten that way, Mother Nature, all that stuff. But then it gets into, if you're a fruititarian in Montana, you are putting think about Montana doesn't grow fruit year round.
No.
So you're having shipped in from a couple countries away your pineapples and your bananas. Like that can't be good for the environment.
Oh, no.
If that is kind of part of your reason.
Your reason behind it.
I remember on one of the first ministry trips I went to when I was in Bible school, there was this gal, I think she was a junior or senior, and she was a fruititarian for health reasons. Like her doctors had told her to try it. And so she packed up into the back of the minivan we were driving there, like a dozen pineapples, bananas, tons and tons of fruit. And then we drove to Columbus, Ohio. It was like 12 hours. And by the end, just the car smelled like rotting fruit. It was just disgusting sitting in that back window. And that's just all she ate for an entire week. And she was not a healthy looking person. And I was like, I can't imagine this being beneficial for you.
Yeah.
You know, she wasn't a very nice person either. And so I'm like, the whole fruititarian thing, that scarred me right there.
Jeez, oh man. Yeah, like I think at that point it's probably better. It's probably like the doctors are like, hey, try something where you're just not eating processed foods anymore.
Right. And I can't imagine that like a licensed doctor probably told her that, which I'm all for holistic healthcare and stuff like that. But I'm guessing that was a somebody from down the road vitamin store gave her that suggestion.
Probably.
Yeah.
Which, hey, good for you. If it works short term, I'm sure there are fruit cleanses, there are fruit juice cleanses.
Yep.
Yeah, those are great for you, but they're short term.
Yes.
And they're not like lifestyle fixes. So I think that it's not necessarily evil, but I think leading people to believe that they can live off of this lifestyle is wrong. Just because you're not getting the nutrients you need.
You have to have fat, even a little bit, and you have to have like B12 and stuff. Yeah.
And there's an ultra marathoner who's a fruititarian.
Okay.
And very, very skinny guy, super skinny, and nothing wrong with being skinny. But if you're running that much and you're putting that much mileage in every single week, there is a danger that comes with just eating fruit and not having the right supplements or nutrients. So I can't say, I got to take back what I said.
Okay.
I can't say that I would recommend this diet unless you know how to supplement all the vitamins that you would need. But again, that's not a lifestyle you want. You don't want to have to artificially supplement your nutrients.
Then it shows it's actually not.
It's not a holistic lifestyle. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I wonder if that'd be interesting to look into what he does for protein sources. If he just chooses like the most high protein fruits or if he just does like a protein powder.
I gotta imagine he has to.
Yeah.
And iron and
he's probably
B12?
supplementing a lot.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
Which, I mean, like you said, is great, but that just shows that your body's not designed to live on just fruit forever.
Totally. And I think I don't want to point to this as the only example or only real big negative example of fruititarianism, but a lady just passed away from only eating fruit. She was a fruititarian and she just died because her body gave up.
Interesting.
She just wasn't eating enough calories and the diet was too restrictive and she died from this diet.
Wow.
And I'm not here to be a whistleblower and say this is terrible. I'm just here to say like, hey, make sure you're supplementing everything else you need if you're on a really restrictive diet. And I would recommend only being on this for a short period of time.
Yeah, exactly. As like a reset or whatever.
Yeah.
It reminds me of, we listened to that podcast about a year ago of these two brothers that were like 15 and 17 or maybe a little older that ended up in this random town in Canada.
Yeah.
And some people took them in and they were super, super skinny, like 6 foot, weighed like 120 pounds, like crazy skinny. And all they would eat was fruit. And they found out later who they was the younger brother. He was like 15 and he had a lot of health issues. And so he started eating really clean and then got obsessed about it and got into spiritual things and was only eating fruit. And he was losing so much weight that Child Protective Services were going to take him away from his parents and like make him eat food. And so they ran away to Canada.
Yeah.
And then they ended up getting sent back and stuff. But he was in the hospital. He almost died because he was so obsessed with eating just fruit.
Yeah. And they did have to eventually force feed him, put a tube in his stomach basically, and give him nutrients because his body couldn't sustain it on just fruit.
Yeah.
So, yeah, but be careful out there, everybody.
Wow.
If you're about to try this diet, just use your head. Use a lot of supplements and don't do it for a long time.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Very interesting.
Yeah.
Huh.
There
Cool.
you go.
There we go.